Hello, Namaste. My name is Hariharan Iyer. I am the founder, creator, and chief mentor of Hariharan School of Success Education, hssec. And I welcome you to this very special session orientation program on keys, know your energy wiring system. And in short, its acronym is keys. So I am the creator of this keys concept, and I want to acknowledge that it has been co-developed by my friend and colleague, Mr. Dilip Sharma, who is also a trainer and is the founder of Multi-Node Solutions and is also the mentor at hssec for us. And he has been responsible in fine-tuning this product and also coming up with a very unique instrument which helps you understand what kind of energy sets you carry. So welcome to this presentation on know your energy wiring system, which is called as keys. So this session could be, what I call as the author's eccentricity, or it's actually a disclaimer. This can be frighteningly intellectual, or it could be funnily simple. So I just wonder what you think it's going to be. The genesis of keys. Keys has been born with my over 30 years of energy work. I've been a regular meditator for more than 30 years, also practicing Reiki since 1993. So there's a lot of healing work that I've done, self-healing, helped others, and energy and my communication, my experience with energy is a daily practice. So I'm a Reiki grandmaster also, and somewhere the energy has created the inspiration to come up with a concept like keys. Keys has been a labor of love, and has also caused a lot of labor pain because every creation causes pain. From concept to materialization of that concept, it's a journey, it's a process. But I think it's all been worth it, and it is hssec's core product. And it is, as I talk to you, it is growing in its stature, and we are able to influence more and more people with our keys assessment and our concept. We call it a bold new theory. And what is bold? Bold is nothing but born out of learning and discovery. I believe no one ever had the last word on anything. Life holds many beautiful secrets, and keys is one such attempt, one such mechanism to unravel one more secret of human existence for all of us. Keys is, of course, based on my personal observation journey about life, about experiences of life, my experience with energy, though it has been born at informally, so to say, but it has now acquired a very formal structure. And I will talk more about it as we go along. So keys is a process of self-discovery. It is not just a program. It is a personal journey of sorts. So by the end of this orientation, you will get an awareness about what is active energy set and what are latent energy sets, and also get some ideas around the dynamics of the 4 energy sets that we have discovered: creator, builder, participator, and influencer. So this involves an assessment. For those who take the assessment, they will be able to get a personalized report about their energy sets. So this session is divided into 3 parts. Section 1, it's about energy discussions and paradigms to set the context. Section 2 is about the 4 energy sets and their traits. And section 3 is about understanding who am I right now and where am I headed. So let's set the context here. You see, energy has a language of its own and it goes beyond the mind. It's an experience in itself. And we call it, we say that energy is the personality of consciousness. Now, consciousness cannot be experienced in the waking state. It can only be experienced in the meditative state. So we urge people to practice meditation regularly. Obviously, the whole concept of keys has been born because of my experience with energy and meditation. Now, meditation per se has nothing to do with this, you attending this program or you taking the assessment, but it's just a suggestion for your own personal development and to have a more enhanced personal experience. That meditation is a wonderful thing to practice every day. So what is the energy language all about? The energy language is about the experience. Energy, as we know, is not fixed, it is dynamic. It works cyclically and it is intelligently random. Generally, we will not associate energy with something which is random to be intelligent, but energy is intelligently random. And when we talk about the energy sets, we also say, and we also want you to kind of understand this, that energy is value neutral. So we are not trying to judge people here. We are only helping them to gauge themselves. We are not trying to judge anybody. We are not saying this is a good energy set or that is a bad energy set. This is superior, that is inferior. Not at all. Right? So we will experience. So when you do the assessment, you will come to know the language of energy in a better way. Now, here's where our fundamental paradigm is, which is essentially to say that what matters is your energy set and not your mindset. Now, understand, yes, we are being a little unconventional in what we are saying, but from our understanding, we believe that it's not your mindset that matters more. What matters more is your energy set. Why? Because it's the energy which directs the mind, and it can be fully and appropriately perhaps experienced very well only through the heart. However, we have been taught a lot to condition the mind. But what we really need to do is to channelize the energy and to free our mind. Because when you free your mind, you will be able to actually experience the higher potential of your energy. And you're not stuck with the mind, because the energy and consciousness is something that goes beyond the mind. And I say that the mind is the instrument of consciousness. So it has to be leveraged in the right way and not put under any kind of pressure. Energy flows while the mind follows. So overemphasis on mindset is potentially damaging because it constantly calls for adjusting the mental frequencies. And that does not come naturally to a lot of people. There are a lot of people who connect more with energy more naturally than with thoughts or manipulation of thoughts or streamlining of thoughts or tweaking of the mind. So our basic paradigm is energy sets matter much more than the mindset. So connect your energies and your mind will be at ease. So keys will help you understand what is your predominant energy set, and it is not another personality or behavioral analysis. In a lot of personality tests or behavioral tests, you generally kind of discover that you are likely to be, you're told that you're likely to be that way. Yes, because we all exhibit a certain consistency of personality traits and behaviors. So that's right. But there is a world within us which is beyond personality, which is beyond behavior, and that is our energy, which is the core of our being. We are nothing without energy. Because there is energy, we are there. And it's the energy that guides us, the energy that makes us do things. So, unlike a typical behavioral or a personality test, your keys assessment, which is, again, I want to put a disclaimer here, it is not a psychometric test. It's a simple format structured in a slightly different way with a different kind of, different kind of scoring. And your keys assessment can give you dramatically different results even in a short period of time, because based on the assessment, you may take some actions and that can influence the overall energy sets, or something might happen in your life. So energy has two aspects. What we call is the active energy and the latent energy. So when you tap into your latent energies, you can bring them to the active space, or your latent energies will find their way into the active space. Energy has a way of expressing itself and manifesting itself. So sometimes you will do it consciously, and at times it may just cry out for attention and it may find its way through. So high self-awareness will connect you to your latent energy, which is why, again, I said regular meditation does make a difference. Now your active energy set may or may not be making you happy. For all you know, it may be your latent energy set which is crying for your attention, and you may be ignoring it for some practical reasons. So let's look at this as we go along more. So what's the difference between active and latent energy set? Or what's the difference between active and latent energy? So active energy is your comfort zone, whereas it's something which you're already experiencing and you're working with. Whereas your latent energy is your unmanifested potential. Latent energy is perhaps your calling, and active energy is what is calling you. In a sense, your active energy is your skill space. That's what you're working with. Whereas your latent energy is your potential talent. It's your talent space, and that is looking to manifest itself. Now you've got to understand what is that active energy today was a latent energy at some point. And what is a latent energy today can become an active energy later on. Everything is active to some extent. But this is, we're talking in terms of relative terms, and what is relatively dormant. Now, keys will help you recognize your active energy set, and it will also help you get clues about your latent energy sets. Now, the happiest people in terms of their work are those who feel connected to their active energy set and are also conscious of their latent energy set. So by the end of this orientation, you will get clues about your active and latent energy sets. For example, your active energy set could be creator, but latent could be influencer. It does not mean you're unhappy if you're still not tapped into your latent energy set. You may want to bring it on into your life in a more prominent way at a later date. Latent energy, however, has a way to get itself into the active space. So trust the latent energy to manifest itself. It will find its way through. As we said, it's not about the mindset. It's not about putting, conditioning the mind. The energy as a force of its own, and it will find its way through. However, with keys, you can consciously work on bringing the latent energies also into more active space and leveraging the active energy to make it even more potent. So we talk about the 4 energy evolution states. First is conscious active energy and unconscious latent energy. Second is conscious latent energy and unconscious active energy. We call it as a dissipated state. First one, we call it as a stable state. Unconscious active energy and unconscious latent energy, we call it as a disengaged state. And conscious active energy and conscious latent energy, we call it as an evolved state. So let's look at conscious active energy, unconscious latent energy. We call it as a stable state. Now, there are a lot of, because people are new to this concept, so obviously many of them would also be perhaps in unconscious active energy state. But generally, because they're using that energy, while they may not use the term, but they're likely to be, all of us are more conscious of our active energy. Now, for example, most people are in this state because they are going about their lives doing activities which just help them get by, survive. They are not conscious of their inner genius, and perhaps the circumstances of life or of their own choice, they have silenced the latent calling. Now, let's take an example. Now, if somebody is an HR professional, he or she is more motivated by doing engagement projects, transformation projects. However, I find that a lot of people are stuck with just doing recruitment, hiring, firing, doing the routine jobs, the operational issues, and not really getting the satisfaction that they are looking for. So they are in an unhappy active energy state, and the latent energies are lying dormant. Similarly, for trainers, for example, many trainers are not able to actually train. They are doing more of coordination. So this is true for a lot of people. Many of them have not chosen their calling as a profession. So it lies dormant because of practical reasons. So they're living more with the active energy and not really tapping into their inner potential. So keys in that sense can be very life-changing for you. Conscious latent energy, unconscious active energy is a dissipated state. Let's take an example here. And this is a state which one needs to work upon and kind of find a way to stabilize it, because dissipated state can make you a little uncomfortable. Now let's look at this example of Mr. VP, who's conscious of his genius, but can't find a way to anchor himself, as he's not able to find his active energy. So he goes about trying new things in the hope of finding what he really wants. So he lives an inconsistent and dissipated life. Active energy, even if unexciting, gives you an anchor to explore your latent energy. But Mr. VP, however, just can't seem to find it. Now, so this example shows that somebody is very conscious of his latent energy, but is not able to anchor himself in his active energy. You need to, even if your active energy, what the activities that you're doing right now is not exactly what you want to do, but it can always buy you time and it can keep you stable. That's also important. So you've got to appreciate that even if you are in an unhappy active energy zone, it has a role in your life. And if you're conscious about your latent energy, that's fantastic. You can work on it and bring it more to the active state gradually. So don't be in a dissipated state. Find an anchor. You got to anchor yourself. Third is unconscious active energy, unconscious latent energy. It's a disengaged state. People are just getting by life. They don't have too much any real goals or purpose as such. What they need to do is to become conscious of their active energy and again just stabilize themselves and then keep working on their potential. Conscious active energy, conscious latent energy is what we call as an evolved state. Now, this is another beautiful example of Mr. R, who works in public relations. He's built a great career and a position, but he's acutely aware of his need to explore deeper dimensions of his potential in learning and development. So, despite challenges of time and physical, mental, emotional energy, he has got himself certified as a coach, which he can leverage for professional purposes at the right time. You see, he's working with an active energy, which is essentially the role of a public relations professional. But the inner urge to also be a coach, to be a trainer, to be in learning and development, to be a mentor, work is happening. He's tapped into that potential. And he's consciously kept it at a certain level. And over a period of time, he will activate it even more and he will make that more of the active energy. So this is what keys will do for you, to give you an evolved state understanding of who you are. Because it has an orientation and it is followed by a brief assessment. And then the assessment generates a report. And you get a personalized, customized report, which we wherever required, we can even do a one-to-one discussion with that person. So to understand who you are, keep watching and monitoring your actions. There could be an interesting interplay between your active and latent energy sets. So whenever we make the report, I think we find it very fascinating to see the wonderful interplay between the creator, builder, participator, and influencer energy sets. So this concludes section 1. Now let's move to section 2. And let's look at the 4 energy sets and their traits. Creator, builder, participator, and influencer. So when I I created keys, but it's changed my own life. It's altered my own understanding of who I am and what I need to work with, and what I need to work on. So when I reflected on my own life, I realized that in the early stages of my career, my active energy was more of a disengaged participator and then an engaged participator. Then I became a very serious builder as I wanted to build my career. But eventually, the latent creator in me took over, and now I'm trying to exercise influence too. So my own keys assessment showed that I'm an active creator. I mean, that was latent for a long time. And I made it active through my entrepreneurial journey, which I started in 2009. But to take this creation forward, I also need to exercise greater influence. So I need to bring that energy set also more to the fore. So you see how fascinating it is to kind of understand yourself and based on your energy evaluation in a better way. So when one latent energy becomes active, another may occupy the latent space. In a lifetime, possibly 2 energy sets may find maximum expression as we generally take time to wake up. So in our sessions, we say that probably the very rare personality like Lord Krishna, who was able to manifest all his energy sets to maximum potential in one lifetime. But we as ordinary mortals, even if we are able to do a good job with manifesting even two of our energy sets to a much higher degree, I think we would lead a very fulfilling life. Now, the objective of keys is to take you beyond paradigms of success, or failure. The idea is to take you to a paradigm where you can make life more fulfilling. Even if you fail, it can still be fulfilling because you recognize the importance of the journey. Even if you're successful, you may not be that fulfilling because it may just extract an amazing prize, which you would have been much happier not paying. Right? So the ideal state is to have all the energy sets fully manifested and exploited in one lifetime. But as I just spoke about Lord Krishna, even if you are able to do a good job with, even if a very good job with even two energy sets, you lead a much more fulfilling life. Now let's look at, this is very interesting. Let's look at the traits of each of these energy sets. So creators, as you can see, they are typically, they like to create, they feel inspired to create a space which does not exist. They like to be original. They want to make a unique contribution. They want to establish their own unique identity. They wish to be trailblazers. They like to challenge existing paradigms. They are rebels with a cause. They like to take the lead. They simply love their freedom and space. What makes them happy? When they can create something, when their opinions are valued, when their restless energy does not face any roadblock, when they can lead life more spontaneously than in a planned way. And what can put them off? They don't like to be subjugated. They can't function effectively if the space is denied. They would prefer to be a leader rather than a follower. They don't like to be instructed. They don't like to be bound by processes. In fact, they like to make processes also. They like to create. They say, let me make a new process. Let me create that process. They get a lot of satisfaction out of creating something. You see, as you can see so far, whatever we have discussed, that this can be used for personal self-development, self-evolution, and also for or also by organizations in terms of figuring out what kind of potential I find in people and how I can leverage them for the organization and also for the greater fulfillment of that particular person. Right? So what makes them unhappy? That's something we have discussed. What they need to be aware of, so when I know that this makes me happy, this makes me unhappy, this is how a creator is, they also need to be a little conscious of certain things. They need to be kind of beware of, as we say. They may get ahead of themselves and overestimate their own prowess to create something. Their overzealous nature to create may blind them to invaluable things that are already in existence and can add a lot of value. You don't have to go out and create everything. Everything need not be created. You can also benefit from what is already there. Sometimes, so they need to be aware of this and they may miss this. They tend to be a little bit more sensitive than desirable. And they may not be open to listening to others' ideas and they are instinctive and impulsive. So that may be a natural wiring that they have. However, they need to be aware of that what could be where impulse can cost them. So how leaders can leverage creators? So Keys is also a leadership program. Give them space, encourage and appreciate their ideas. Make them part of product development. You want to build something from scratch, get them in. Where needed, add value to their ideas by saying, but, just put a little disclaimer there. They say that, yes, I really like what you're saying, but can I say something? Would you like to look at this angle also? Agree on a mutually decided accountability plan. Because they're so busy creating, they may lose out on understanding that it's important for me to take the creation to a certain culmination point also. So build a certain accountability plan with them and keep a tab on them without being seen as intrusive. Why? Because they love their freedom and space. So how can a leader put off a creator? By being very instructional, by being overbearing, by putting down their ideas, and by constantly asking them to replicate something rather than allowing them the creation freedom. So then actually they are also creative, right? Because they are a creator, they are also creative. So allow them their creative and their creation freedom. Now, what are their career and entrepreneurial spaces? Creators have a natural entrepreneurial temperament as they like to have a lot of space, which may not always be possible in a job or organizational role. But that does not mean they cannot or don't work well as employees. It does not mean that. It is just that their success and happiness will depend upon getting their space and creation freedom. So you may just want to reflect a little bit more on the discussion that we had regarding creator traits. Maybe you want to jot down some notes, put down the big ideas that you've gathered. Now let's look at the key characteristics of builders, people with primarily the builder active energy set. They like to build on a laid foundation. As the name itself suggests, they like to build something. They like to associate with creators because then they can build on that foundation. They can definitely add a lot of value to the creators' ideas. They leverage creators to build on their plans because creators can bring that innovation and that energy. And if the builder is having some idea, the creator can, add some value to it. They associate themselves with an existing platform and try to enrich it. They look for associations that match their philosophy. It's very important for them. They research on options and make informed decisions. And many of them have a lot of patience. It takes patience to build something. So again, as you see, Keys is also a team building workshop. So any good creator will also need a good builder. Because a creator is more instinctive, tend to be impulsive sometimes. A builder can bring in that patience to that project and greater clarity and the right kind of pace. What are their happy spaces? When their ideas for improvement are listened to and they're respected. When they get an opportunity to create a better version of what is created. They look for that. How can I bring my uniqueness by building on what is already there? When they deal with people ready to be developed, they make good mentors. When they get to work strategically, they are good at brainstorming and of course, mentoring opportunities. What can make them unhappy? When they are asked to work on projects they don't believe in. You say they like to associate with people where their philosophy matches. So if you put them on projects they don't believe in, they will not like it. When they're pushed into something, building takes time, right? So they take a little while. You can't push them too much beyond the point. They are not happy with deadline pressures. That's not for me. It does not mean that they're not ready to meet deadlines. But this is generally the characteristics or traits that the builders have. What they need to be aware of, they must not underestimate their creator energies because building something is a necessary and logical process to create it. They need not restrict themselves to just building on something. They can be good creators too, but may not carry the restlessness and urgency of a creator. So they need to be beware of trying to imitate creator energies. They can activate their creator potential in their own way. You see, I said energy is intelligently random and it is unique to each person. And they also need to bring in urgency and step up pace when needed, because they like to take the time. That's how they function well and to the best of their abilities. But sometimes you need to step up pace and bring in a certain level of urgency. How leaders can leverage builders: give them challenging projects, sow an idea and take their opinion, and work with them by setting certain deadlines. It's important because but the deadline should be reasonable and it should not be at variance with the project quality. And certain projects need to have certain timelines, so you need to be reasonable with your deadlines. How leaders can put off builders: by being unappreciative of their ideas, by pushing them into projects without setting the context properly, very important, by being hollow and not getting into the depth of things. So what are possible career and entrepreneurial choices that builders can make? As builders, as the name suggests, like to build, be it a career or a business. So as an employee, they're likely to do well in strategic roles. As an entrepreneur, they could excel in maybe franchise development. Right? So because they like to build on a laid foundation, so they can take up a franchise of something and take it to the next level. And yes, as an entrepreneur, they would obviously want to make their own strategies for their business. And as an employee too, they'll fit in very well with strategic roles. Participator traits. What are the key characteristics? As the name suggests, they like to participate and create value. Their energy drives them to participate and collaborate with creators and builders. They are execution oriented. What a great value addition for a creator or a builder or an influencer, entrepreneur or professional, to have a participator in the team, because he will bring in the execution which is required. They bring energy and commitment to projects. They're a critical cog in the wheel for projects to grow, because projects cannot grow unless you execute the strategies. And a good participator's strength lies in his ability to know his limitations. Very important in life, isn't it? So each of those active energy sets, each of these energy sets can actually be a great learning experience. So I can learn from all the 4 energy sets. You can learn from all the 4 energy sets and keep on improving yourself. So KEYS is also a self-development program. So a good participator's strength lies in his ability to understand his limitations. They're good at networking, because they're looking at collaborating. So they need to network. They're looking at being part of projects which they can build on by contributing through their execution strengths and by deeply engaging themselves and participating in it. What are their happy spaces? When they get to work on projects which excite them and they feel a connection with. When the expectations are laid out clearly, you need to be very clear when you talk to them in terms of, as a leader, you need to be clear. What do you expect from them? You don't keep them in any ambiguity. When they are trusted and given space to operate, when they receive the right kind of mentoring and direction, when guidelines are simple and they are easy to execute, and they are having a comfortable working environment, and when they get opportunities to support. What are their unhappy spaces? When they are entrusted with complex tasks. Don't give them tasks which are very complex to execute or understand, or when they are pushed into something they are uncomfortable with. What they need to be aware of, not to lose sight of their ability to engage and execute. They may not be able to handle over expectations. They may need to temper the demonstrativeness in certain situations. I mean, sometimes they may get a little carried away, or they may become, or they may just start losing focus of what they cannot do. That is their strength actually. But sometimes that can just cause a little confusion in their mind. Right? So how leaders can leverage participators? By making them execution leads. You have strategy leads, your project leads, create execution leads. You need to share as a leader more ideas with them more often. Complement their participation, give them a pat on the back frequently, and nudge them, don't pressurize them. That's not something they'll be happy to handle. How they can put off participators? By curbing their enthusiasm. See, the biggest thing about a good participator is that the participator will bring in that enthusiasm, that energy to the project. Or you can put them off by assigning them strategic responsibilities which may not suit their temperament. So the best time to involve them in strategy is only after the basic plan is in place. Don't bring them on board to create something. So let's come up with something where nothing exists. No, that's not where they will excel. But once a certain architecture is ready, then they'll be ready for that. They will be ready to participate in that and start contributing in a better way. So their career and entrepreneurship spaces, they need to look for jobs which give them the opportunity to be actively involved. They're driven to perform and seek opportunities to engage. They like engagement. As an entrepreneur, they could make a mark by associating themselves as channel partners with business models that they feel are connected. Now let's look at the key characteristics of influencer energy set. As the name suggests, they are influencers. They like to make an impact by influencing people. They have the ability to convince people to their point of view. They network to not just to meet people, but to find pockets of influence. They make good connections and have the ability to connect. They are smart operators. They are tactful and they are good conversationalists. What are their happy spaces? When they are meeting and communicating with people, when they can get somebody to agree to their point of view, when they make an impact with their thinking, and when they are engaged in an intense conversation, because they like to influence people. Their unhappy spaces, when they are unable to make an impact, or when they are asked to curb their instinct to create an influence. So don't do this. Don't try to create any great impact or try to influence the other person. That can just put them off. Of course, you should not try to influence people all the time. There has to be a context to that. But this is just to share what can make them unhappy. So what they need to be aware of, everyone cannot be influenced, right? Context is important, and also everyone can't be influenced. I mean, you don't try to influence everyone. They may feel dejected if someone does not agree to their views or questions their viewpoint. They may feel a little insecure sometimes in the company of other influencers. They may see that as some kind of competition. How leaders can leverage influencers? By utilizing them for tough negotiations. by tasking them to get much needed information. They are good at digging out information. And leaders can, of course, leverage their networking skills. How they can put off influences? By cutting their wings. We're not putting, tying some chains around them and saying, don't do this, don't do that. And by isolating them from a circle of people. They like to be with people. That's how they can exercise their influence. And you see, they are good conversationalists, isn't it? So they want to be with people. So don't isolate them from that circle. So what are the career and entrepreneurs can make good leaders? Due to their ability to impact thinking and opinion. It does not mean that creators, builders, and participators cannot make good leaders. Everybody will make a unique leader based on their own energy sets. They could also excel in sales, where influencing is a critical skill. As an entrepreneur, their key strength would be their ability to refer people. So a referral and investor-based business model could be good options for them. Right? So that was a pretty exhaustive section 2, where we looked at the characteristics of all the 4 energy sets: creator, builder, influencer, and participator. Now, how will you know who you are and where you are headed? So this is where you need to do the energy evaluation assessment. It's a brief assessment which does not take more than 15-20 minutes. And when you do it, you need to do it with total honesty and without trying to, give the right answers. There's nothing right or wrong here about anything. Energy sets are value neutral in any case. And do it spontaneously, rather than trying to think too much about giving the scoring, which is given from 0 to 5. So don't try to think too much, be honest. And because the more naturally you do it, the better insights you will get and likely breakthroughs also in your life. So before we conclude, how to leverage the energy sets, your next steps: become aware of who you are, stay true to who you are. Please do not fall into comparisons. Every person's journey is unique. Every person's energy wiring is unique. Everything does not work for everyone. And you should know what is your leverage. Also understand it's not just your energy type or your energy set, it's your energy journey. I've been able to come up with this concept of keys because of my energy journey, which continues, which keeps on expanding, growing, evolving. It's a beautiful journey. So when you're connected with energy in terms of its journey potential, it makes it really lovely and exciting. So in a nutshell, creators create. They may be advised to look for collaborators unlike them. They tend to work well with builders. Their impatience is their strength as well as their weakness. Builders build. They can become consultants for creators, but must keep pace in a collaboration. They can leverage the experience of working with creators to create their own. Their patience is their strength as well as their weakness. Participators participate. They will flourish in a system that is defined and gives them a focused role. Good participators can add value through their participation. They create engagement in the team. Participators must not compromise on their values, otherwise they may end up using the talent for the wrong objectives. In such a scenario, the strength, which is engagement, can actually become their weakness. Influencers influence. They are well networked and they know how to leverage people. They may tend to use people rather than utilize people sometimes. You need to be beware of that. If they use people, their networking and influencing strengths, which is a influencing skills, which is a key strength, could turn itself into a weakness. So you don't use people, utilize people. Influencing is a powerful skill. If done from a space of credibility rather than power, it can earn the person a lot of respect. So with keys, a new journey will begin for you. And it will connect you more to your internal energies and create a greater sense of fulfillment and joy. It's an energy journey and it's an adventure in itself. And the most beautiful part about the keys experience is that you will start experiencing yourself in a new way. The kind of communication you have with yourself may also change. And you may just start exhibiting a wonderful interplay of all these beautiful 4 energy sets. So I wish you all the best for this wonderful new journey which you have begun, even simply by listening to what I'm talking and by attending this orientation session, by watching this orientation session. So for us, keys is not just a program, it's an instrument which will help you to expand and evolve. Your dominant energy set could be as of this moment. So do not think you cannot evolve further or discover more secrets about yourself. You will reveal wonderfully more beautiful secrets about yourself. And as I've already said earlier, too, a highly recommended practice is meditation, because it just connects you to a different level of life and energy, and it will open up different horizons and expand your existing horizons. So keys has just opened the door for you to go deeper within. Keep diving deeper inside. And thank you so much for being a part of this workshop. Do write to us at hsseconnect@gmail.com, and also to visit our website www.thehssc.com. So for any more information about keys, to get a personal assessment and a report done for you on the keys energy sets, do drop us a mail at hsseconnect@gmail.com. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey with us.